Howdy folks, welcome back. Here we are, part 2 of our Cat ATV project. So we left off, we got the 4-wheel drive working. Engine's running good. We're waiting for some parts for that, the actuator and whatnot. So while we're waiting for that, I had ordered a bushing kit for the rear end here because it's got some play. So we're going to take care of that and maybe see if we can't sort out these lights and these hand grip warmers, see why they're not working while we're waiting for the 4x4 parts to arrive. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so as I was saying, I've got a kit, rear suspension kit. We got a bit of play here. You can see that or not, but that moves back and forth. That bushing's wore out there. Same with the one up there. And I imagine, I don't know if those ones are bad, but those ones definitely are. Now, after opening this and looking at it, I'm thinking maybe it's just for one side. I don't know. I've never done one of these before, so that may just have enough to do this one side. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. If that's the case, if it's only for one side, that's fine. It's not like I'm done ordering things. I can always order another set to do the other side. The fronts felt really good. They feel tight, but this back, and you can feel it. Maybe you can see it there. I see it moving, and the bushings wore there. You can feel it kind of wobbling a little when you're ripping on it. So anyway, I'm going to tackle that today, and that might be it for today. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Stand by. All right, guys. So I got the top. I don't know, wishbone. It doesn't really look like a wishbone, but that's what a lot of people call this sort of thing. Anyway, doesn't matter. You call it whatever you want. So all these, it's got a plastic bushing that goes sort of in there. And then, well, there's the one for there. Plastic bushing and then a steel sleeve. Pretty straightforward. Strange though, this one here, which was out of there, that plastic has worn that steel insert. That's so strange. I mean, the plastic's worn too. I guess they wore together, but that's worn that pin or that bushing like a lot. Anywho, that looks pretty straightforward. So I'll just do the top and then I'll put it back together, and then I'll do the bottom so it doesn't fall all over the place on me. It looks fairly simple. Okay, so that was a piece of cake actually. Just shove those in, and the pin is, or the bushing, sorry, the steel bushing is a fairly tight fit in that plastic piece. I guess there's a bit of a seal on there to keep crap out of it, mud and whatnot. So shove it in, and I just use the old Nipex here to squeeze it together. And speaking of that, I know everyone's going to say, you're supposed to pronounce the K in Nipex. Well, maybe you do. I don't. And I do not care if I'm supposed to pronounce the K or not. I'm not going to. It sounds stupid. Anyhow. So, after doing this one arm, I can see that this kit is only enough for one side. Stupid me for thinking that it was for the whole back end. I guess I should have known better. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. We can do this side, and then we'll know what we're doing. And I can order another kit. That's not a big problem. That's not a problem at all, actually. So, how did I do that? No. That. So I guess you gotta make sure that the steel piece is centered, otherwise it won't go in. tight bit, but I guess that's what it's supposed to do. If it wasn't tight, it wouldn't be any good. Now, I do not know whether you're supposed to lube that or not. I would think yes, because that's going to rotate in there. I don't know. I'm going to do it anyway. Just put some Never Seas on it. I'm sure maybe somebody watching this will be mad at me for doing this, but let's do it anyway. I've never generally can't go too far wrong with using anti-seize. It generally is your friend, as I always say. Ooh, there we go. All right, that one's in. Now, just line that up. That seems like that's going to be pretty simple. Yeah, okay. Just put a bit of... I don't think it's going to do us any harm. I'm not exactly sure which part they intended to rotate. I would think that there. That would be my guess. I don't think you want that rotating in there. You definitely don't want the plastic part rotating inside the fixed bushing. So my guess would be that that's the part you'd want lubed up slightly. So I'm just going to use my my general knowledge here and go with that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It wouldn't be the first time, and it won't be the last, but I can't see how it's going to hurt. Because once it's on there, it's on there. Look at that. Okay, that's that. That's actually pretty simple. Now this bottom is actually worse than the top, so I'll zip the top ones together. That'll hold that, and then we'll tackle the bottom. Okie dokie. So that's it. It's all done. Now, as you can see, the box is empty, so that kit is definitely only for one side. How stupid of me to think that it would be for both, but anyway. That was pretty easy. One thing that does suck, though, is that they do not give you a new bushing for the shock. I don't know why. Maybe there's like a premium kit that comes with that, and I didn't buy that one. I'm not sure. Like I said before, this ATV thing's a bit new to me, so I don't know. Not sure why that would be. But anyway, doesn't really matter. We'll have to make do with what we've got. So I'll investigate that another time. But anyway, it moves nice. Now I wondered about how tight to make these. They were really tight when I took them off. But I guess the steel bushing in there is the right length. It won't allow that to crush too much and make it too tight, because I put them on pretty tight and they still move. So I think that's okay. I think that's why they do that. So all we got to do now is just put this girl back on, which they do not give you much room to do. It's very, very close to the brake caliper. Maybe I should put that in there first, should I? Yeah, that's a better idea. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Alright. So that, we don't have that. Maybe you gotta buy new shocks. I don't know. Those, hard to say what sort of condition those are in. They feel alright, but I don't know. We're not going to worry about that for now. We're going to pretend that that's just fine. So we'll have to leave that. I'll have to order another kit, and that's okay. Looks like I'm going to have to order some wheel studs anyway, because our good friend, I would imagine the same guy who stripped the oil plug, has stripped 2 of these wheel studs. I don't know. Generally speaking, guys, more is better, but not always. That's what makes it confusing. I'm generally a more is better type of guy myself, but in certain cases, more is not always better. Now, I've lost the nut for that, but anyway, that's fine. Okay. It's around here somewhere. I'm sure it fell on the floor. Okay, where did you go? Get away, Pete. Well, I lost it. I'm going to have to go searching for that nut, as I'll forget to put it on if I don't do it right now. I'll bring you back in a sec. Now, it's worth mentioning, I know some people kind of like videos, just turn on the camera and just go to it. I cut in and out when I'm doing things for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, some of it's, I don't want to bore people with silliness. And maybe that's just me. I'm trying to do it the way I would want to watch it. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I try to make videos that I would want to watch. And the other thing is, I work alone, and I like listening to music while I'm working, and YouTube kind of frowns on that. So I usually cut out when I'm doing something kind of boring or repetitive, so I can turn on the tunes and go to it. Anyway, back in a second. Okay, guys, so we're moving right along here while we're waiting for some of the parts that we've ordered to come. I'm going to have a crack at this winch that we were laughing about excuse me, earlier. Now, what we got here is these cable clamps. You can see that it says quarter. That's for 1/4 inch cable. That is not 1/4 inch cable. That is 3/16 cable. So, those are the wrong clamps. Now, will they work? Yeah, they probably did. The other issue here, I'm not sure if you can see that. You see how they have the saddle of that clamp on the dead end of the rope? That is a cardinal sin. That is a no-no. The saddle always goes on the live end of the rope. And that's sort of an industry standard. A lot of people don't know that, so I mean, I don't fault the guy for doing that. You wouldn't believe how many tow trucks, cranes, winches I've seen that are like that. I'm sure I did it myself in the earlier years when I didn't know any different. But when I was an apprentice, I learned that you don't do that. And I have seen them where they were installed that way with the saddle on the dead end of the rope, and they slipped out. So that's the reason you don't do it. And if you want to remember it, they always say never saddle a dead horse. That's sort of the rule of thumb there. In any case, we are going to, I probably don't have 3/16 Crosby clips, but I'll get some. That should also have a thimble on it right there. I mean, if you want to be real anal about it. I don't know, from what I've read and what I've heard from other guys, a lot of guys use synthetic rope instead of cable. We'll stick with the cable for now, and we'll fix that up. Now, I'm going to take that off of there because I want to take this fair lead off. That's the only roller on there. Well, that one turns too, but these two are jammed, and that one is all chewed up. So that looks like that winch has been well used. So I'm going to pull that off so we can take the fair lead off and free it up. It's Sunday here, and I've got electrical work to do yet, but got a bit of a headache here today, and electrical work is not much fun. That's, at least for me, I have to be in good humor if I'm going to do wiring, because I don't really like it. So if I'm not in good humor when I start it, it usually goes bad. Anyway, let's get that off and get to it. Alright guys, I've changed my mind. I don't have that size of Torx bit to take that fair lead off, so I'm going to have to wait. I've ordered a set. My experience with Torx head fasteners is pretty limited. They're used fairly extensively in automotive stuff, and that seems to be the way they build these. I have a few sizes that I use on my pickup, but I don't have a whole set, so that size I do not have. Yeah, so I haven't come across those a whole lot. Most of my 30 years of wrenching experience is in industrial and agriculture, so you don't see those a whole lot. It's mostly hex head or Allen head. Anyway, I know excuses, but I have a set on the way, it just hasn't come yet. So, I am feeling a little better, so I started working on the electrical again. No, I said I wasn't gonna, but it's not gonna get done if I don't get at it. So, I have sorted out quite a bit of this actually. So we did have one light working before because that was the only bulb that was working. All of these plugs are working, so you've got, I don't know which one is which, high beam, low beam. That one's cut off, but it has power there, I've checked. So high beam, low beam again. Those are working. I got the tail light working. That wire was cut off or broke off. I repaired that. I had the pan sitting on here just to test it. So the brake light works when you push down on the pedal. Now, it did not have that spring on it. It was just kind of flopping there, which was making the brake light go on all the time. Now, I'm not sure if that's how that's supposed to be. I just found a spring and put it on there so that it would return nicely. It wasn't returning very well. You can see how it's pulling that plunger. That's what makes the brake light go on and off. So I don't know if that's exactly how that was supposed to be, but that's how it is now. And then over here, let me shut that off so it doesn't blind us. When I got it, that was cut off, those wires. So I found that had a different kind of connector on it, that orange and red and black wire. Sort of a plug style, which I don't have, so I just chopped that off and hooked that up, and now that works as well. So that's cool. We've got all our lights working now. So now what I'm looking at here is the heated, that one there works this heated thumb throttle. Now I don't know what that one's for. It doesn't seem to go anywhere. But these grips do not have heat in them. So I don't know if that's an option that this machine just doesn't have, or you have to buy different grips. I don't know. Any of you guys that are watching this that might know, chime in and let me know, because I'm not sure. Seems kind of dumb to have, I mean, yeah, it keeps your thumb warm, I get that, but I assume that was wired for that option, perhaps, to have heated grips also. And the other side's the same way, it doesn't have anything there, so my guess is that it's an option that this one does not have. In any case, one problem that I do see is that So I believe, I can't read it, but I believe this is for the rear heat, for the passenger seat. So the passenger seat has these heated grips here that I assume are supposed to plug into this. And then the wires run underneath over to this side. And those are heated, I guess. There must be wires in there or something, heat wires. I don't know. However, that plug is different than this one. So I guess there's maybe a connection plug that's missing. I'm not really sure. And it appears that this rocker switch has, I'm guessing, a high-low. Goes forward and it goes to neutral, which is off, and then down. And I can't do it with one hand, but when you test those three with the test light, each time you rock it, a different one lights up. So I assume there's a piece of a connecting wire that's missing here. So I am going to try and plug that one side into this and see what happens. Because I have a feeling we're just missing a piece of wire here. Someone cut it out and did away with it. That's what it looks like anyways. So stand by, let me try that out. Alright, so as it turns out, stupid me, I don't know why I never paid attention to this, but there's these two pigtails down here that just have a dummy plug in them to keep them from getting full of crud. I'm not sure what that one would be for, but an accessory of some sort. This one here matches that one. It even has the same color wires in it. So I don't know why I never noticed that before, but I'm assuming, because I noticed there's a switch here, so the passenger has control over the heat for themselves, if they want it or if they don't want it. And plug it in, the key on, it actually does work. It's actually quite warm. So that's cool. So it appears like the passenger actually has the better end of the deal here on this machine. All the driver gets is his thumb warmed up, and the passenger gets the whole hand grip warmed up, which I guess is alright if you got, you know, a kid riding with you or something like that. Anywho, I'm not terribly concerned about that anyways. Accessories have never really been something I care about. However, it is kind of neat that works. At least we know, now I know what that's for. That one I don't know. I'll have to look on the electrical drawing maybe when I go in the house later today and see what that one might be for. But anyway, so now everything is working. That is dynamite. I'm super stoked about that. Alright, let's turn off the key and make sure that it shuts that heater off, because that would suck if you know, if you were just, because surely you're going to leave that on. You wouldn't want that to stay on and kill your battery, right? So let's just make sure that works. So I'm waiting for the light. I ordered the light bulbs because I've only got one that's any good, and it's not even that good. One thing that concerns me here is how cloudy these lenses are, which I think is fairly common. And I don't know, is that mud on the inside? I mean, some of it probably is. That one doesn't look terribly muddy. It just looks like it's, you know how they go cloudy from the sun. I wonder if I should try and take those apart. I'm a little leery because sun is really hard on plastics, and some certain types of plastics tend to get really brittle after they sat out a long time. But I don't know, what have I got to lose? What's the worst that's going to happen? I break it? I think we should give that a try, because I do have bulbs coming for that, and it would be nice to be able to put that dress back on this machine. Kind of looks ugly without it. All right, let's give that a shot. I'm gonna try and take one of those off. Okay, so I got one of those out, and I attempted to take it apart. See, it's got some clips there to separate the clear lens from the black part, and it did not want to come apart. It feels like there's some sort of sealant in there. It's soft, but I was afraid I was going to break it, and I would have for sure. I know it. So rather than demolish it, I got that real muddy one sitting out there by the hose in a bucket of soapy water. I'll let it sit there for a while and see if I can clean it. I'm sure it'll clean it up a little. And that's probably the best we're going to do. I know I will wreck it. I just don't have the finesse for something like that. So I'm gonna give up on it and just soak them and do the best we can. Anyway, so I got our fair lead off. My set came, so I was able to get that apart. And all of the shoulder bolts are just rusted real bad. That part there's bent real bad, or sort of chewed up and bent, so it wouldn't allow that one roller to move. Imagine that's pretty much standard. These probably would have been okay. They need to be lubricated once in a while, I would think. No big deal. I'm going to clean all that up and put it back together with some lubrication so it stays nice. Alright folks, check it out. Finally we got our four-wheel drive and diff lock mechanical switcheroo affair in the mail. Took about a week and a half, but I guess it's not their fault that I live in Canada. Anyway, I've taken the liberty of installing it. I didn't bother going through that because Cat ATV sends you a link to a YouTube video that shows you how to install the particular kit that you've ordered. So you can watch that video, and it's actually quite extensive and quite helpful, because when you get it, it's not completely assembled. You can't install it correctly if it's completely assembled. So anyway, we have our four-wheel drive mechanical actuator, and there's our, hopefully you can see that, the diff lock. Just pulls that little rod out of the diff to lock both sides, and I set it up according to the video that I watched, and it works well. So what they give you here is a just two mechanical knobs that lock into position when you want to do those functions. Piece of cake. So that top portion there, I'll show you what we end up with. This here is the old electric one that went up here. So you just replace that half. The throttle half portion stays there, and they even give you new screws, which is cool because that one was seized and I had to cut the head off. So they give you new screws for that, which is cool. You just put that in place of this, and that now is no good to you. The only problem I see with my setup is that, so they wire it. There's a couple of micro switches in here, I guess, that they give you this wire that you're supposed to plug into where your original one came from, so that it can tell on your dash pod. It shows up whether you're in four-wheel drive, whether your diff is locked, vice versa, or both, depending on what you're doing. that one does not fit my thing. Now I do recall, I'm pretty sure they said in the video they give you an adapter for different plug configurations. Well, I didn't get that, so I'll investigate that later. It's not a big deal. All that does is change the light up on your screen, I guess. And since my screen doesn't work, I don't really care about it that much. I mean, you know when you're in four-wheel drive or not, because it's mechanical, right? Anyway, since it did cost me $600, I would like that. But they tell you here that if you have any questions or concerns, that you can email this chap here and he'll sort it out for you. So I'll do that later today, and maybe they just didn't put it in the box. Anyhow, if you do purchase one of these, which so far I highly recommend it, it's looks like very good quality stuff. They show you videos on their YouTube channel of how to do this, and it's far better for you to follow the instructions of someone who's done it 100 times as opposed to me who's just doing this for the first time. Anyway, folks, that was basically the last sort of thing we were waiting on. And now we have it. So now this thing, as far as I'm concerned, is basically rideable. I got to see if I can remember how all this goes back together. I ordered new headlights and they all work, so I can put those in. The only thing I haven't done is taking care of the seats. The local upholstery lady that's going to do these for me is on vacation, so I wasn't able to make that happen just yet, but that's going to happen this week. So I am going to put some of its clothes back on here and hopefully take it for a little spin if it don't rain. Looks like it might, but either way, I gotta tidy this up a little bit here and try and remember how all this crap goes back together. Stand by, folks. Alright, folks, check it out. We're pretty much all back together here now. It was a bit of a struggle trying to remember where everything went, but we got her. So I do have a couple of little, just sort of cosmetic items I got to deal with yet. Of course, the seat, we talked about that. This is missing some sort of a latch. We'll deal with that. That's not a huge problem. Naturally, I was missing a lot of the fasteners. They were missing when I got it, so I just kind of had to improvise. And we repaired our winch cable. Got a thimble in there to protect the cable. We've got the saddles on the right way. We got the right size on there. And we've got our, most importantly, our four-wheel drive affair all set up. Lights, I've got the lights working now, so I'll show you here. There's lights. Tail light. And high beams. Now I'm not sure which one is supposed to be the, I would guess maybe I got that backwards. The low beam should be on the inside and the high beam on the outside. I can switch that, whatever. I don't think it matters a whole lot. It doesn't to me anyway, but whatever. We'll switch that if we have to. Anyway, what I would like to do now, I think, is take this thing for a little run and test out that four-wheel drive and the diff lock and whatnot. Make sure that's cool, because everything else is cosmetic. All the important goodies are done. Now, as far as this thing not working, there you see it's didn't magically fix itself, which is a bummer. I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet. I have to do a little bit more digging and looking, because one of the parts places I've been using doesn't have it. It's not available, so I don't care that much. If I can't get it, I can't get it. I'm kind of over driving real fast anyway, so I don't care how fast I'm going. I think, as I said before, the only thing that I think it would be helpful for is troubleshooting, because it'll throw up codes on the screen for you if you need them. But we're going to cross that bridge when we come to it. One thing at a time here. All right, let's see if this thing will start after all this monkeying around I've been doing. And we'll go for a run. All right, folks, so I think the plan is I'm going to fire this up, hopefully, and go for a little spin. And I think probably the best thing for me to do, I want to make sure that this, I'm sure the four-wheel drive works, because we tested it before. I want to see how this diff lock affair works. And I think the only way for me to do it is maybe just to spin it in the gravel, because I'm away up on a hill here and I don't have any mud to speak of, unfortunately. So I think the gravel might do it. We're gonna give that a shot. So let's go for it. Well, everything appears to work the way it should. It's a little challenging here. There's really nothing challenging enough for this machine. That little hill is nothing for it, but looks to me like all four were spinning there, so I think that works. Alrighty, folks. I went for quite a tear on this thing, and I would call it a success. Everything's working on it, and it actually boogies pretty good. It's been a long time. I think I mentioned it's been a long time since I drove one of these, and I forgot how fun it was. So I was kind of ripping around a little bit, and I decided to bust out the GoPro, and I'm going to take you guys for a little rip too. So I don't think you want to look at the stupid look I have on my face, so I'll just put you right here. Hopefully that'll stay there, and we'll go for a tour. Let's go. Well, I thought that was cool. That goes more than fast enough for my liking. I'm getting older and I don't have the nerve to drive all that fast anymore. I don't really care to. It's cooler to just tour and look around. But out there's not much to see. That's just a couple acre field, and that's all I got right at the moment. But I am ready to hit the trails, I think. Once I get this seat done, I'll get that back on. And man, I am ready to go. All right, guys. I thought that was pretty cool. Everything's working on this machine now, except for the LCD screen, which we don't know what we're doing about that yet. Don't know if I can find one or not. I'm going to investigate that a little further. Got to take the seats in to get covered. And waiting on a couple of wheel nuts. We need a few wheel nuts are missing. And that is it. It's ready to hit the trail. So I think I'm going to leave this one here. It's been long enough. Coming up in part 3, I'm going to go over everything that I spent on this, what we did to it, what it cost me to buy, and you can decide for yourself whether this was a worthwhile venture or not, or whether I'm out of my mind. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Alright guys, I thought that was pretty cool. Okay folks, so I thought that ride was pretty cool. I've been doing that for probably an hour or so now, just driving round and round and round. Everything works, everything runs, the fan turns on, it's not running too hot, it starts good, everything's pretty good. So you can decide for yourself whether this was a worthwhile venture or not.